Unblinded team, thank you. First off, for starting off the day, we're a little happy. I am totally in my ridiculous, fun energy, and that was a great way to start a Why Wednesday. So, Mr. Callaghy, what's happening, what's cooking, and what's happening in the world of you?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Fernando. I'm present to a tremendously disruptive call last night. I'd love to get some thoughts and feedback on what the takeaways were from that. So who got out there that we could bring forward that wants to jump on in and share some of their takeaways from last night? Because I'm sure everybody wasn't there.
Jay Levine with a hand up.
Yeah, awesome. Jay, let's jump in, brother. So good morning. Happy Why Wednesday. And what was present for you, Jay Levine?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Sean, Fernando. Happy Why Wednesday. So yeah, I mean, when you played that video last night of Ted, the first thing I thought when I was watching it, and maybe it was because looked like a home movie, I got an eerie feeling, to be honest with you. Like something just didn't feel right. But then when he started talking, he was such an incredible speaker. He was an incredible influencer. His pacing, his tonality, the inflection in his voice, the fun, the aspirational energy. I mean, he was touching on literally everything. And he reminded me of you. I was like, oh, this guy kind of reminds me of Sean. So when later you mentioned that, you know, he was someone that you ecosystem merged with and obviously had some influence in your life, it made a lot of sense. It also made sense to me that influence and the power of it can mask the incredible amounts of pain that you're having inside if your process and self-mastery aren't on point as well.
Amen, Jay. And again, honoring Ted and his life, and always speaking in truth and learning lessons. And two topics for today. And Jay, just stay with me. And Fernando, let's see if anybody else wants to hop in.
Yeah, we got two more folks for you, just so you know.
Yeah, two topics for today are what is love with boundaries? How does it relate to truth and money? Like love, truth, and money, and stepping into people's frames, like in stories. So stepping into people's frames and stories, and love, truth, and money. So Jay, just hang with us. Awesome job. Who's next, Fernando?
Awesome. Hey team, can we bring up Liba and Jonathan Nieto? So as Liba, you bring your way over here, I just want to quickly acknowledge you and say thank you for being so inclusive, doing such an exceptional job of constantly wanting to introduce new people. I have failed in my mastering doing so, and you've reminded me how important and critical it is. So whatever you got to say, I just want to acknowledge you for that. So over to you, Liba.
Thank you so much, Fernando. Good morning, guys. Hi, Sean.
Hey, Liba. Good morning.
Good morning. I want to just say that I've seen a bunch of Ted's videos. I actually never heard of him till you introduced me to him a few months back. But then I watched a bunch of videos. And then last night also, I just felt like I was watching myself in a way, because I know I have influence mastery and I definitely don't have, like, my process mastery is not up to par. And then after hearing Lori share what she did for her Real Raw, and I'm helping someone else with their Real Raw, I'm on the West Coast and it was 7:00 when the phone call ended, like the Zoom ended. And I was like, it's really late. And I'm like, you know what? I was talking to someone and she's like, Fernando and Adam call people till 9:00 at night. And then I realized afterwards, maybe they're calling people on the West Coast. So it's only 6 p.m. But I decided, you know what? 7 p.m. It's just dark outside. It's not really that late. And so I started calling people and I called about 7 people. I left a few messages. I got 2 people signed up for Real Raw. One person is going to confirm today with me if they could sign up, but they want to do it. It's just whether they could do next week or in 2 weeks. And one person started texting me back. He was like, I can't pick up. He's actually on a date with Destiny right now. And he's like, I would love to do it. We could talk on the 13th. So yeah, it was actually really fun to call people you don't know. And I think once you get into it, it's kind of like, I'm excited to call people now because it's only going to be 6:30, but in the East Coast or Australia, it's late enough to call people. And so it's fun to step out of your comfort zone. So thank you for that, Lori. And thank you for just reminding me that people are constantly telling me how much I can accomplish in this world and how successful I could be. And it's frustrating watching myself not get there. So I'm really trying to take action. and get there. So thank you.
No, it's awesome, Liba. And Liba and everybody, just remember, like, this is about leading an intentional life, an integrous, loving, intentional life around your money, your time, and your magic. Right? So we're not telling anybody how much money you should ever want to make. Right? Ever. But just do it intentionally. You know, just make sure you understand that if you choose to say, hey, I want to work, 20 hours a week and I want to make $40,000 a year. All right? There's nothing wrong with that. Just understand the full meaning of that 20 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 30 years down the road. And the fact that you may not always be able to predictably control that, right? So just do it intentionally and understand that the world is going to change, that influence is a superpower. If you have it, you have flexibility and ability to do all kinds of things and make choices. And if you have financial resources and cushion, that also supports you in other ways of having time freedom and delivering magic to people you love and care about, or simply making sure you can make a choice, say, no, I'm not going to work for 3 months or 6 months or 9 months. So there is no suggestion that anybody's life should look like anybody else's in terms of their outcomes. My outcomes, and I've said it 50 times, I'll say it, or 150 times, I'll say it 151. At one point, it was to build teams and have a structure so I could spend time with my kids. I never wanted a Rolex. I don't own jewelry. My dad, who never made a ton of money at all, owned like 200 suits at one point. I don't think I ever owned more than 6. So like clothes, jewelry, I just never cared. I don't care. I wanted to have a beach house, which I have beach houses because I now want one spot for each of my kids and hopefully grandkids and great-grandkids forever. I got it. I wanted a certain level of financial cushion to make choice so I didn't have to work and I could go on vacations wherever I want. I do like staying in really, cool places and having a lot of space when I stay. That's my choices, but it'll be yours. I love scuba diving, skiing, surfing. I want to be able to go anywhere I want to do it. That's my life, right? Your life might require a plane. I don't. Your life might require a yacht. Mine doesn't. Your life might require none of those things. And you might say, I just want to have a tiny apartment, studio apartment, and I want to live and do exactly what I want to do. And I want to live on welfare or social security disability. I just want to go walk around and talk to people. And I'm 100% sure I'm going to be fulfilled for the rest of my life. Or in fact, I might want to move to the woods and hunt and fish and make no money. God bless you. Just think it through. That's all. Just think it through and understand the formula gives you the ability to create whatever you want. Does that make sense, Liba?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. And someone gave me a big distinction. It was actually Bella. I volunteer a lot and I was spending a lot of time volunteering at a food bank in the mornings from like 6:30 to 9. And I was like, there's not really much I could do during those hours because I wasn't thinking that it's later in different time zones. And so for me, it's still early. Nobody's really up. And so I'm going to change that. And really, I learned that I need to start doing things for myself and not for other people. And as Elle always says, like monetize the shit out of everything, like, because I know I can, and I have done it in the past. So yes, I'm creating the life that I want and that I want for the future.
Yeah, because Liba, right? And this is a conversation I had with a number of people, right? So if you make money, right, then you could change how you impact. And it doesn't have to be that way. I told the stories of me giving Christmas away in the inner city to kids, and I felt great. I felt really significant. It was amazing. I didn't publicize it. Nobody knew about it. But when I was there, I felt really good about it. I felt really proud of myself. I felt like, yeah, this is amazing. I'm doing good in the world. I was giving kids toys at Christmas. And there's nothing wrong with that. But my Uncle Jimmy, I've told you this story, said, do you really think you're changing their lives, though? I was pissed. I was like, well, you get off your ass. Well, he did. He gave $1 million to St. Peter's College. Like, so what would I rather do? Not what's better. What would I rather do? I'd rather give $1 million. End. Right? speak into their future than give them toys. The toys feel really good, though. Maybe there's nothing wrong with it, but was it significant? Or was it contribution? Which was more? Was it my significance when I walk into Toys R Us and buy all the toys and get online and the cashier goes, "Boy, this was 15 years ago, 20 years ago." The cashier goes, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm giving a bunch of toys away to kids." So really good. So really good. And you know what didn't feel quite as exciting? When I read an article about this family and this horrible death, and they didn't have money for a funeral, and I paid 10 grand for the funeral, and nobody knew about it. Nobody except one person that worked with me and my mom. It wasn't as exciting, but I don't know what's more spiritually meaningful. You know what I mean? Like, and those are really complex evaluations. And I'm not telling you what the answers are, but I'm telling you there's legitimate analysis and questions to be made about all of it. And I do know this. When somebody from the blindness world said, "You know what I think you should do, Sean? I think you should start flying out to Arizona. And I think you should start going to companies and talking to them about hiring blind people one at a time." And this is like 2 years ago. I'm like, I definitely know that's not what I should be doing. I'm 100% sure that is not the maximum impact. You want me to go talk to a room full of 1,000 companies or 100 companies? That makes sense. You want me to raise money for the AFP so they can hire people to go do that? That makes sense. That's how I think. You don't have to think like me. And you can give Christmas away to kids, and you can work in a soup kitchen. And if that is your calling, it's amazing. It's beautiful, and it's wonderful. That is not my calling. I am clear on that now. My calling is to build stuff, to generate money, to speak to large groups of people, and that's the level of impact and game I want to be playing. Right? Whatever you want to be playing, that's up to you. But just do it intentionally. Think it through, see what resonates, see what vibrates. Like my stepmom had breast cancer. She's a breast cancer survivor. I have no pull towards raising money for cancer. I don't know why. And I'm blind, and I'm not raising money to cure blindness. I don't know why. It just doesn't resonate for me. Like, it definitely resonates that I want cancer cured, I want blindness cured, but I don't know, maybe it'll change. I like Kirk, I like the AFB, I like the idea of changing the unemployment rate for the blind. I don't know why. I really love the concept of saving people from sexual slavery. Those resonate. What doesn't resonate, I'm being very honest, is sitting down with one person at a time, helping them overcome their trauma. But it resonates for other people. It's amazing. It doesn't for me. What used to resonate was coaching youth sports, which is how I thought I was going to impact the world at one point in my life. And I coached a lot of it. It doesn't resonate anymore. I've seen a different way I can create more impact. I'd rather teach them about business and financial freedom and impact than teaching them the lessons through athletics, which are amazing. And I still believe in. Just make the decisions intentionally. Okay? And don't let anybody control your frame. We'll talk about that in a minute. Don't let anybody control your story, your frame, except you. And by the way, and truth. And truth. Because there's a difference between saying what resonates for you emotionally about the outcomes you want for your life. That's subjective. That's like up to you. Objective is like, you know, if I want to create an 8-pack of abs, right? I think I'm in very good shape. I really feel good about my body, my physicality. I do. But if I want to have an 8-pack, then I can't eat Twizzlers. And I gotta do a little bit more. It's not worth it to me at this stage to have an 8-pack. It's a conscious decision. 8-pack or that sacrifice. I choose the Twizzlers intentionally because I like them. And you could say, well, that's wrong. Well, F you. It's my choice. I'm not telling you how much money to make. Don't tell me I can't have a few Twizzlers. I really like the salted caramel I had last night. Thank you very much.
Stop eating Twizzlers.
My call. Yeah, my call. My call. It's your life. It's my life. It's our call. I'm not telling you to eat Twizzlers. I'm telling you to make an intentional decision about your life. But if you're going to, and you said, I want an 8-pack because I want to be an example of possibility that can be done. Okay, is that the way you want to be an example of possibility? You sure? It's going to take a lot. You sure? Absolutely. Amazing. Then you got to do this. So once you tell us how much money you want to make, how much time you want to have, and the level of impact, then we tell you what to do. We're not telling you what to decide. We're telling you to make sure you do decide and do it intentionally. Jonathan, does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. I'm going to go. Thank you, leave it. Jonathan, are you there, brother?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. So what's present for you?
So based on the call we had last night, there's something that really stuck out to me. There's a couple of things really that stuck out to me. One of them was that, without process, there's just randomness. And I completely resonated with that because even though I'm a big fan of processes, my process could definitely use some improvement. So I'm very willing to learn, how to improve what I'm currently doing. And I've always understood that if you're unwilling to measure, you're pretty much unwilling to be held accountable. So that's one of the things that kind of stayed in my mind. I actually went and journaled after the call, and I wrote those things down because those are things that I definitely want to master. The whole process mastery. That's one thing that I think it's critically important. The other thing is, that at times, I notice personally, I downplay the importance of money sometimes because I was raised as, money's not everything. And it's something that, it definitely shouldn't define you, which we talked about last night. But you hit it, you hit a very important point is, in the capitalistic structure, which we live in, money absolutely matters. And for the kind of impact that I'm looking to have, the kind of impact that I'm after, it matters for me. So when you guys discuss monetizing, understanding how to monetize, you spoke to me there. And I that's one thing that I also want to understand how to do better. Just learn how to monetize better. Just learn how to have certain processes and measure better. Just improve. There's always room for improvement, at least the way that I see it. And those were the things that really drilled it. I felt were pretty much drilled into me last night.
Awesome.
And come from a place more of less significance or no significance and more contribution.
Yeah. Listen, Jonathan, and stay with me. First of all, congratulations on stepping up this morning. And we love people that are more new to the program or have spoken less. Please find your voice here. Lori, you had such an impact last night. There's so many new people here, and there's just, it's an amazing ecosystem. And the more your voice is heard, the better. So please keep coming forward. This is like a shared platform of communication and connection in every way. And we try to be as dynamically inclusive as possible. I use the word inclusive to mean to have as many different voices heard as we can. And there's some voices that I think are important, and we're always doing the best we can to share the microphone. Jonathan, what you're sharing is hugely impactful, and is like, it's like we made this up and staged it. Because and please stay with me for a second, Jay, and Lee as well. I was raised in an environment, and please let this land. Okay, I was raised in an environment that did not have a lot of money. Okay, and I say I was the first person in my direct family line to go to college. Direct, and that is a true statement, right? My parents didn't go, my grandparents didn't go, grandparents didn't go, first person direct. My uncle did. And that's my Uncle Jimmy. And he was the one that went back. The story is incredible. But bottom line is, he became a retina surgeon against all odds because my grandfather was blind. I was going to go blind. And he wanted to cure the disease. He was tragically killed in a truck accident 22 years ago on May 22nd, 1998, on his way to Long Beach Island, to his beach house, that's 2 miles from my beach house. And he was the most direct example of money. And by the way, ecosystem merging, because how did he become so successful? He became a subspecialist retina surgeon. He went to all the ophthalmologists in the area and merged ecosystems and said, the cases you can't handle, the cases that are too complicated, those are my cases. And he was one of the finest retina surgeons in America. And it's an amazing story, which I've told before. I'll tell again, but not for today. Against all odds. Against all odds. Impossible. And became as good a retina surgeon as anybody in the country, right? And so my Uncle Jimmy, in these progressions, that example, made a ton of money. It was Jenny Craig, the diet queen. Remember Jenny Craig out there? Some of you are old enough, some of you don't remember, but it was like Jenny Craig. I think it might even still be around. He bought her house for cash in Saddle River, New Jersey, which is like the most affluent area of northern New Jersey, the most affluent area of Bergen County, one of the most affluent counties in America. It's just ridiculous community, massive mansion, right? He bought it for cash. Uncle Jimmy made a lot of money, okay? My grandmother and grandfather, who never made more than $25,000 in a year, were so proud of him. That's their son. So proud. And would tell me, my grandmother would tell me, and Nicole has seen this house, some of you have also seen this house. My kids have certainly seen this house. There's a beautiful house, like stones around it, Long Beach Island, and had it was like 2 blocks from my grandparents' house on the bay. And my grandmother, when I was 5 years old, when they first bought their house in Long Beach Island, how'd they buy it? They sold their primary residence in Jersey City, put a down payment down, and rented that house out. Made some of the most amazing financial decisions, but never had a surplus of any money, right? And everything was scrimping, saving, always. Right? So they would tell me, you're going to be a doctor. You're going to make money. That's what their son did. And they would tell me, someday you're going to buy, and they would joke, like it was like for fun. My grandmother and grandfather was so amazing. But like, I want you to buy me this house. When you're rich, you're famous, you're going to buy me this house, the stone house, which, by the way, I've considered buying just out of honor and love for my grandmother. And it's still in my nervous system to do that, even though she's passed. And so that house is a multi-million-dollar house. Back in the day, it was a multi-million-dollar house. And my grandmother would say, you're going to buy it, you have money. Her son was, rich. And we would sit at the table when I was 10 and 15 and 20 and 25 and 30, when I had become financially abundant. And my grandmother would sit there and go, these rich people, can you believe these rich, selfish people? And she was telling me to become rich. And her son was crazy rich. Does that land, Jonathan? For the mixed messages we all receive about money. And I love my grandmother. She's an amazing soul. But if we don't get our heads, our emotions straight about money and love, and we don't write our own story about it, we're going to have pain. We're going to self-sabotage. You don't need to go read the book, right? You don't need to go listen to Personal Power, but Tony does a whole thing. Tony Robbins does a whole thing on wealth wounds in Personal Power, and T. Harv Eker made his entire career. And by the way, I don't love all of the dynamics of T. Harv Eker's work. There's not a lot of how-to there, but purely from the perspective of reshaping our relationship with money. And I don't love all of it, but at least confronting the dynamics, T. Harv did some really good work and certainly helped me as well. And you must examine and write your own story and condition your own beliefs. Write your own story, condition your own beliefs about money. Because deeply, deeply fixed into your nervous system are all these things. Just think about it. If I said, hey, how much money do you make? You'd be offended. Probably, most of you, or at least uncomfortable when I answer the question, how much money do you have? How much liquid money do you have? What's your net worth? Those questions bring up so much for us emotionally. And even when people talk about money, right? If you talk about money, people get really upset. Who's going to pick up the check? How much? I heard in my house, my grandmother, so many times, they won't reach into their pocket. They didn't even bring a piece of cake. They didn't bring a dessert. Judgment, blame, heaviness around money. There's so much emotion. You know how much emotion I have? I pick up the check everywhere I go. I don't even ever want to deal with it. Like, I pick up the check 99% of places I go, because I made a decision a long time ago. I never wanted somebody to talk about me the way my grandmother talked about other people. That's the truth. And I just kept going with it. And like, it's probably something I should examine. And Elle last night's like, I want to buy the pizza you always buy all the time. I still bought last night. And sometimes you need to be able to receive. That's its own complex conversation around a lot. But the bottom line is with the whole thing, right? The bottom line thing with all of it is, and this is what Tony is doing right now with Date with Destiny, which is why Date with Destiny is such a remarkable program. You sit down for 6 days and you examine everything you believe. It's an unbelievable program. Unbelievable. But the cool thing is that I didn't even go to Date with Destiny because Tony did something even more amazing. He put all of it in the book, Awaken the Giant Within. And I still have my book, and I've read it like 50 times. It's why I love Tony before I ever went to a live event, because the book is Date with Destiny. Awaken the Giant Within is Date with Destiny. Now, there's obviously what he does. There's nobody there in the world to create the environment, the experience, and the dynamics. So, I mean, if you haven't done Date with Destiny, definitely do Date with Destiny. It's unbelievable. But if you're like, I can't wait, I can't go, I didn't do it this time, buy Awaken the Giant Within. And just go through all the exercises on your values, on every piece of it. It's the quintessential foundational book of self-mastery, right? It's about intentionality. It's about intentionality. So Jonathan, Liba, Jay, let's start with Jay. Jay, stepping into other people's frame is literally the opposite of intentionality. It's letting other people tell you, like, I love Adam, and he can tell me, the consequences of me eating Twizzlers, and so I'm present to my intentional decision making, and I appreciate that, and it's meaningful. But we're all going to make decisions, and I'm not perfect, and maybe I'll decide to be more masterful, and maybe that's just a rationalization. I'm present to that, and maybe it's an unhealthy beat. And by the way, just for fun, I haven't even eaten any Twizzlers on this trip. We talk about Twizzlers, but I have that other sugar, right? Right. I did have one salted caramel last night, and sometimes I have two, and I don't have them every day, and it's not perfect. And many of you are more masterful in your sugar intake than I. And congratulations, and I honor that. I'm inspired by it, and I'll continue to evaluate it. Am I addicted to sugar? It's a great question, and I'm present to it. Right? Let's be present to things in all these different ways. So, Jay, real quickly, right? What is your takeaway about stepping into people's frame and intentionality around love, money, and truth? Jay, 30 seconds.
It's everything in business and particularly in our business in real estate. Truth is absolutely everything. And when you step into someone's frame, there's a good chance that it's not going to be the truth. And you're going to allow somebody to basically lead you and you be at effect rather than be a cause. So we always lead with truth and step into and lean into objections. And again, it's all with love and love with boundaries so that we make sure that we're not taking on the emotions of our clients and the people that we are merging ecosystems with, but rather meeting them where they are and then bringing them with us on the rise. So rather than stepping into their frame, lean into what it is that is the, let's say, objection or friction, and hit it with a lightning bolt and demolish it.
Yeah. And the job, thank you, Jay, hitting it with a lightning bolt and demolishing it. Our job here at Unblinded is not to make you comfortable. It's the opposite. And if you want to be in a community where you're going to be insulated in your comfort, like if I want to be in a community where everybody says, yes, eat all the Twizzlers you want, and it's going to be great, then I'll go find that community. That's not here. So I'm not telling Adam to stop saying, don't eat Twizzlers. I love him. And it's cool that we speak truth here. It's not about keeping comfortable. It's about truth in love. Just like when my coaches in high school told me the truth. Just like when I told people in the blindness world, say, listen, I don't think the biggest problem is with the employers. And I'm not saying that's the AFB's position. I'm not saying it's anybody's position. But I learned about personal accountability and responsibility. I think the first step, my passion, is to light blind people on fire to raise in their influence, self, and process mastery. Right? Because then employers are going to be like, I want to hire you. I don't give a crap if you're blind or not. And it's somebody else's job to worry about the rest and the employer side. I want to cause examples of possibility and have that people are blind not be the story. That's my passion. And if you don't like it and tell me I should have another passion, screw you. I'm going blind. I don't even raise money to cure blindness. My stepmom had friggin' breast cancer. I'm not doing anything for that. I'm making my choices. I want to light blind people on fire, to take responsibility for how they show up, for their influence mastery. And I don't want to work with blind people who don't want to learn the formula. I don't. And screw you if you tell me I should want to do something different. I'm also not working, to raise money to stop, the spread of malaria. I'm not raising money to cure COVID. It's not my passion. You have a right to your passion and your truth. Liba, your takeaways from today.
Wow, blown. While you were speaking, my mind was just racing, almost like my subconscious was really thinking a lot. And the more I listen to you and the more I just listen to other people, I realized that I really need to laser focus my energy into. I actually yesterday created what's it called? A schedule, I guess, what to do today, because I always have a million things that I do and I don't really end up doing most of them. And I need to think of the future more than just what's the next thing, because I have a pattern of making a lot of money and then not working for a while because now I have this money and just use it. And if I would just focus more, I'd be able to do, I love the story that you gave with your uncle and with you at the party. If I focus more now, I could do so much more and have such of a much greater impact on people in the future than I do right now. And so it's just small steps and really feeling the pain now so that I don't feel the pain in the future.
That's it, Liba. And by the way, with people are like, well, you know what so-and-so said? I have the vestiges of caring. I want to examine it for truth. But if so-and-so said, oh yeah, they think, I don't know, you talk about making money too much. I mean, I don't think I do, but I don't really care because so-and-so is broke. And so-and-so, just ask them, if so-and-so says that we talk about, this or that too much, ask them for the tax return. Ask them for a net worth statement. Ask them those things, right? Very directly, very clearly. Ask them those things. And at the end of the friggin' day, after you ask them those things, see what it is that you want to learn from them. And because I don't ask my mom for advice on how to ecosystem merge. I don't ask my mom for advice on how to ecosystem merge. I might ask my mom for advice about my faith and the Bible. I might ask my mom for what it's like to be 74 and to reflect back on your life and your love and your decisions. She's an amazing person. But seek advice and input and modeling from people who have the results you want. Jonathan, what's your takeaway from today about stepping into people's frames, money, truth, love? What do you got?
Well, I've been understanding how to just understanding that, at times, other people, that offer advice, sometimes, they may not be the best ones to give you advice, for example, especially if they're not in the position where you'd like to be in. And I've had to work, for example, I've had to work on restructuring certain belief systems of regarding many things, I'm at a point where, you know, I'm completely ready for growth and contribution, and you know, just I'm very, how can I put it? I'm present to the fact that, you know, you should. I don't know. I have a lot racing through my mind. I'm just taking everything in right now. So, and I was taking notes, but just you know, not feel guilty about, you know, doing what it is that matters to you and creating the certain impact that you want to have. I think that's been my biggest takeaway so far from this conversation.
Amazing. Well, thank you everybody for everything you've done and contributed to all these conversations. And final from today is we're not stepping into people's frames. We're loving people unconditional boundaries. We are the voice. And you hear Tony, like, I am the voice. You are the voice. We are the voice. We will lead, not follow. We create, not destroy. We will believe, not doubt. But just create intentionally, like your whole life. Adam DeGino, final.
Brother, I gave it last night. Be intentional about your why and your time blocking, because zone action on this topic is freedom.
That's it. Dropping the mic. Have an amazing day today, and let's go get it. Thanks, everybody.